Welcome students of class 8. I am Varsha ma'am, your science expert, and today we will be continuing our video 5 of chapter 13 Microorganisms. So in the last topic we discussed the remaining commercial use of microorganisms in bakery. So here, for example, in bread, first bread is made by the mixture of wheat flour, salt, dry yeast, sugar and water. Then yeast converts sugar to alcohol and carbon dioxide gas. Then that gas results in increase in volume and makes the bread fluffy and soft. Yeast are also used in baking of cakes, biscuits and cookies, and also it is used in making of idlis and dhoklas. So the next we discussed the medicinal use of microorganisms. Here we discussed antibiotics. So antibiotics are the chemicals that stop the growth of harmful microbes. For example, streptomycin and tetracycline. Penicillin is an important antibiotic which is used in the treatment of infectious disease, and it is obtained from a fungi called Penicillium notatum. So the next is food supplements. So microbes like chlorella and spirulina are a type of algae and rich in protein, and they are used as food supplements. And the last we discussed the agricultural use, where the bacterium Rhizobium helps in the atmospheric nitrogen fixation. And nitrogen fixation is a process by which atmospheric nitrogen is converted into nitrogen compounds, that are nitrates and nitrites. So in today's topic we are going to discuss the nitrogen cycle. So nitrogen cycle is a natural cyclic process in which atmospheric nitrogen enters the soil and becomes a part of living organisms before returning to the atmosphere. So now let us understand nitrogen cycle in detail with the help of this video clip. So students, do you know human needs nitrogen and plants also needs nitrogen, but we cannot obtain directly from each other. So nature has provided a solution for it, and that is the nitrogen cycle. So the atmospheric nitrogen is brought into the biological world where it is utilized by the living organisms and then sent back to the atmosphere. So this cyclic flow of atmospheric nitrogen to the living world and back into the atmosphere is called nitrogen cycle. But how does this cycle actually flows? So let's have a look. So first we should know that atmospheric nitrogen is fixed into two ways. First is Rhizobium bacteria in root nodules, and second is nitrogen fixing bacteria and blue-green algae in the soil. So the first type, that is the Rhizobium bacteria, is found in the roots of the leguminous plants. These root nodules are the homes for the nitrogen fixing bacteria called Rhizobium bacteria. So the roots are directly benefited by this bacteria. So that was about the benefit from leguminous plant. But what about the non-leguminous plants? So we shall not be worried, as we have the second method, which was nitrogen fixing bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil. So these two helps in conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into usable compounds. These usable compounds are nitrates and nitrites, which are used by the plants, and then that plant is eaten by the animal. So nitrogen is transferred into an animal's body. So now how the nitrogen is sent back to the atmosphere? So it is done with the help of decomposition. So when an organism die and buried under the soil, then the decomposers act on it and break the nitrogen into smaller compounds. So these small nitrogen compounds are sent to the atmosphere. But how they are sent to the atmosphere? So amazingly, we have one more bacteria present in the soil, and that is the denitrifying bacteria. So this denitrifying bacteria breaks the nitrogen compound and send the nitrogen directly to the atmosphere. So this is how the atmospheric nitrogen is first used by the biological world and then it is sent back to the atmosphere. So that was all about the nitrogen cycle. Now the next topic is harmful microorganisms. So first let us understand the term pathogen. So microorganisms which cause diseases in plants, animals and human beings, then they are called as pathogens. For example, malaria. Malaria is caused by the bite of female mosquito Anopheles. Mosquito carries the malaria parasites which leads to malaria infection. Most parasites killed as body fights the infection, but some parasites remain after symptoms have gone and can still spread disease. So this is how female Anopheles looks. Now next is communicable disease. So diseases that are spread from one person to the another are known as communicable disease. They are caused by germs or pathogens. For examples, viruses, bacteria, and parasitic worms and fungi. So now next is the tabular chart on page 209 of communicable diseases and their causative agents. So communicable disease like common cold is transmitted by air and caused by virus. It can be prevented by avoiding contact with infected person, by washing hands regularly and personal hygiene. And the next is influenza flu, which is transmitted by air, caused by virus again, and it can be prevented by giving vaccination every year. So this is how students you need to go through the other diseases and their causative agents. So that's all for today, and these are your in-between questions. Learn and copy down in your notebooks. Stay home, stay safe and keep learning. Thank you.